Hi all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna explain what exactly is the batch and scheduled apex in Salesforce. Let me go through what are the topics we're gonna cover today. So firstly, we will see what exactly is the asynchronous apex, and then what is the batch apex, and then a schedule apex, and what's the difference between those two, and the best practice of that, and then we will go through one demo of that. So firstly, why we need a asynchronous apex? So it would be very helpful in handling the large data volume beyond the governor limit, and it improves the performance scalability and it enables to run in the background, like it avoids the governor limits, and it improves the user experience by freeing up UI and reducing timeout. One of the example of asynchronous is like updating the millions of records overnight. So these are few use cases of asynchronous apex. These batch class, batch apex and scheduled apex is a part of asynchronous apex. So firstly, a batch apex. So batch apex process a large data sets asynchronously in chunks. Like for example, if we have a lot of records, millions of records, we have to update it, those millions of records. If we have to do it in apex class, that won't be possible because we have a governor limit. Like in a transaction, we can update only a particular amount of records, maybe a 10,000. I guess I'm not sure about the uh, records numbers. I guess a 10,000 in a one transaction. But if we have to do a millions of records, in that case we can use a batch apex. So how it happens is, in the batch apex we can, like, it will repeat the task for repeat the task on batch level. Like if we have a millions of records, it will batch the records and then do the uh, execution. So every execution is considered as a single transaction. So by default, if you haven't mentioned about the record count, by default it will take 200. Max we can set it 2000. So we can use for the batch apex, we can use the interface like implements database.batchable in the apex class. So it would be helpful while data cleaning, like we have to, for example, we have to do the data cleaning once in a year or once in a month, and if we have a more number of data, we can do it with the help of batch apex, and or else, as I mentioned, a mass update, this can be done. Basically, in the batch apex we have three methods. First one is the start, and then execute and finish. In the start method, we can query the record, whatever the records we need, that we can query in the start method. And in the execution, we can process each batch, that if we have to update it, or if we have to do anything, any process, that we can do it in the execute. And in the finish, we can do a post process. Like once we update it, if we have to save it in some way, or not sure, I mean in any format file, or if we have to send it in a mail, anything, that we can do it in a finish method. And then other one, the scheduled apex. So the scheduled apex, like it runs apex class in a specific time or a specific intervals. Like for example, if you have to run one specific task in a night time, at that time we can use the scheduled apex. It's similar to, if you know about the scheduled flow, it's similar to that. If you have to mention the specific time, at that time it will run the mentioned method, or any, if you have called any other apex class inside, it will runs that. So we can run, if once we created the schedule app, we can run it in the UI, or else, I mean, in the UI we can schedule it, or else in the Apex itself we can do it. Here we have to use the schedulable interface in the Apex class, and method is here we have an execute method. For that, like this, we can write the method. In the execute, we can write schedulable context. And then any one of, if I have to go for the example, like as I mentioned, we have to update one record at the night time. It would be helpful, or any cleanup. Mainly if we have to do a task in a preferable time. So this is for uh, s- scheduled apex. Let's go through the difference. So the main purpose of the batch apex is to process the large data. Any update is to happen on a large data, or delete a large amount of data. In that case, we can use the batch apex. And scheduled apex, it's to run on a particular time. And then the interfaces we can use is database.batchable is the interface we have to use for batch apex, and schedulable for schedule apex. And for execution, batch job it will execute in a chunks. Like if we have millions of records, it will execute on a chunks. It will divide it into the chunks and then execute it. And schedule job will be executed on the scheduled time. And use cases, the batch apex is for mass updates, and it's for night jobs. Schedule apex is for night jobs. And then for the best practice, um, like for the batch apex, we have to keep the batch size as optimal, and then we have to avoid the complex logic in the execute for the best practice. And use, if you have to use the chaining, we have to be use it carefully in any method, because it might be infinite, so we have to avoid it. We can use the chaining carefully. And for a best practice, we have to monitor the jobs regularly. And we can use scheduled apex for predictable automation. And for the scheduled job also, we should not schedule too many jobs. The limit should be only 100. And we can combine it. It better to combine the jobs if whenever it's possible. Um, and we can monitor the scheduled jobs in the setup, in the Salesforce setup. Um, and also, if it's a simple one, we can go with queuable apex also. It's one of the asynchronous asynchronous tasks. So these are the best practice. And thank you. I'm gonna before ending this video, I'm gonna show one demo of that. Let me just go to my. So here in the demo, I will combine both up batch job and batch class and up schedule Apex. So for that, one of the best example is, this is my batch class. Here, what I'm doing is, here, as I mentioned, this is the start method, and then this is the execute method, and then this is the finish method. In the start method, I'm just, firstly, if anything is there for a variable, I'm just defining this Excel data and then querying the values. And in the execute, I'm doing the uh, s- function. Like for example, here I want the data for Excel data. So the Excel data contains account name, industry, types, and phone number values. That Excel part is done here. And then uh, in the finish method, once it's done, for example, here if you see in the start method, I have queried the data. I mean, every date the data is set in the start method. And inside the execute, I have to do the performance. Like here, what I exactly need to do in this class, in this um batch job, is to send a mail uh, of the account records. So for that, I need to do get a Excel. To get the Excel data, I have done that inside the execute function. And in the finish, once the process is done, in the finish, I just have to write the emailing part with the help of these file.set file names and body. I have mentioned everything here. And once we're done with the batch job, I can schedule this batch job inside the scheduled apex. Here we have to use the schedulable context, and this interface implements schedulable in the class, and then in the database execute batch, I can call the method, our batch method. So it will be scheduled here. To schedule it, we have two options. One is here only we can schedule, like for example here we can call this method and then we can schedule it, or else one more is here, schedule jobs. Here if I go, you can give anything like count, let it be like that. And here once I search it,